On today's show, we debate which Maple Leafs are top 100 caliber, and we have an update on the John Tavares tax case.
You're Locked On Maple Leafs, your daily podcast on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome into the Locked On Leafs podcast, the daily Maple Leaf Centric podcast hosted by myself, Mike DiStefano, and my co-host, Dave Morassutti. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's going to hit a home run this MLB season. A little bit of pot for the Jays finally in last night's ball game. A nice win down at the Trop. Something we don't see a whole lot of for the Toronto Blue Jays. It's fun that they're back kind of moving and grooving like they were last year. Can the Maple Leafs bounce back in which the way the Jays did midseason? Can the Maple Leafs bounce back next season and get themselves back into playoff contention? That's kind of what we all want to know. What do you think, Dave? Are the Leafs back into playoff mode after what they've done this offseason under John Scheifele?
I mean, I think if you couple them playing better than they did last year with some of the moves that they made, I think they'll be back competing. I don't know to what extent that we can expect them to get back to what we had become used to in Toronto. But, hey, you know, not every team can sustain what they've done. That's all I'm going to say. There's some teams maybe that played well last year that certain things maybe went a little too easily for them.
I would say, I don't know. There's got to be expectations that they make the playoffs, though, no? If you're the Maple Leafs, that's got to be, number one, make the playoffs. Because if you don't, who knows what the future of the franchise looks like? Because who knows what Auston Matthews will be thinking a year from now if it's another season where this team does not make the playoffs. I do think that they will. I think that they'll bounce back. I think that you're going to get better performances, a healthier Auston Matthews, hopefully, better performances at a Willie. I think Matthew Knies being healthy all season is going to help. The additions of Raddysh and Bobrovsky and bringing in Gavin, McKenna. I do think that the Maple Leafs are a better team today than they were last year. So they should be able to compete and become a playoff team again. I would say I'm more in the bucket of playoffs than I would be not. That is for sure. A few things that we want to get into on today's show, though, Dave. We've got to do our top 100 nominations for the Locked On NHL channel. We do this every year where the NHL, the Locked On NHL podcast, or the network, all of us podcast hosts from each of the teams, we vote on who we believe are the top 100 candidates in the NHL. So each team is tasked to come up with candidates that then get sorted into a top 100. So our deadline is coming up, and we felt, why don't we have the conversation live on air? And if there's anyone in the comment section that believes we missed someone or that we're out to lunch on a nomination, let us know. We want to be interactive here. Let us know in the comments down below your thoughts on Dave and I's submission for top 100 consideration. Not that they are all technically top 100 players, but players we think should receive consideration at the very least. And I remember last year, we were pretty pissed that Matthew Knies did not get top 100 consideration and didn't make the top 100 in the Locked On NHL list. And both of us were pretty PO'd about that. And I think this year, I think he makes it. He's a guy for us, 100% is one of the top 100 nominations. I think Matthew Knies makes himself known to the rest of the world, or probably should have last year. He's a no doubt top 100 guy to me.
Yeah, no, he's proven to be, I think with his contract and with him bringing those expectations of himself, how important he's become, right? When he's struggling, right, and when he's not playing at his best, the Leafs feel it because he is that important to the success of this team. He was also one of the few players that teams couldn't wait to try to call and trade for.
Right. What does that tell you about his standing around the league?
Yeah. I do think that I do think that the rep maybe last year some people weren't as sold. Okay, I'll give them that for 1 year. But I don't know, this year I still think that he's put himself in the position to be seen as a top 100 player.
Yeah, 58 points in his breakout season in the NHL, 29 goals, which was a career high back in 24-25. This past season, didn't get as many goals, just 23, but granted, did spend a lot of time injured, or he played through injury for majority of the season, as he alluded to at the end of the year, but did set a career high of 66 points with the Maple Leafs. So, yeah, I think that this year we'll see Matthew Knies break into the top 100 on the Locked On NHL list. So he's one of the guys that we're hoping breaks onto the list this year. Who are the no-doubters for the Maple Leafs for nominations and consideration for this list, Dave?
So I had, obviously, number one, Auston Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
I had William Nylander. Like, those guys are clear-cut 1-2 on this submission list. John Tavares, I still have him pretty high, and I was on Locked On Game Night. We're going to have a special off-season edition come up. I think it's coming out on Friday. And you'd be surprised of how much people are talking about John Tavares and the outside opinion of him. It feels like more people in Toronto have had more negative things to say than people outside. Like, a lot of people were surprised that John Tavares had this season he had, because we talked about, the wheels are going to start falling off. This guy's going to take a step back. Still had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
Right. So I had him at number 3. I had Matthew Knies as 4. Then I had the new addition, Darren Raddysh, at 5.
Is he a lock for you? Like, you think he's a lock top 100 guy?
I think the season he had last year should have him in conversation. I don't think it's like he's a no-doubter, but I think he should be in that maybe the back half, late edition potentially.
I'm just quickly, I don't know if we can pull this up as quick as we possibly can, but if I'm just trying to remember who was like in the back half defensively. So I've got it pulled up here. Defensively, you had guys like Thomas Harley was at 66, Gus Forsling at 70. I mean, I think he'd be in that range. Vince Dunn, I'd take him over Vince Dunn. Vince Dunn was ranked
like offensively last absolutely year. Right? Like and the defensive numbers. I was talking with, again, the numbers. Maybe people don't view him potentially as a number one defenseman, but he does enough defensively. The numbers suggest he should be in that conversation. Like, I'm even looking here,
dude. There was some interesting rankings last year. I'm just looking at them now. Are you taking a peek at them?
I am too. Yeah, I'm looking back on the graphics.
Yeah. There's some interesting players who got, like, Lane Hudson came in at 82. Cole Caulfield came in at 93 last year. There must not have been a lot of love for the Montreal Canadiens, but they all slapped us in the face this year. They had terrific seasons, and I'd imagine all those people. Macklin Celebrini was 68 last year. He's going to be no doubt top 10. No doubt top 10.
He could be top 5.
Top 5. He's going to be on my top 5. I can guarantee you that.
Like, I think he bumps out Nikita Kucherov from the list from last year.
It's very possible. But if we get back to the Maple Leafs, I think Darren Raddysh is better than some of those defensemen we talked about who did make the top 100 list. So I'd have Raddysh in over, those players. And for that reason, I mean, the guy had 22, 23 goals, like, from the blue line. That's impressive stuff. He landed a big fat contract in Toronto. He should for sure, I think, get consideration to be a top 100 guy. What about Sergei Bobrovsky? You think Sergei Bobrovsky is still top 100 status?
I don't know. I think people are going to look at his year last year and probably think that, they'll look at his age and they'll think that he's going the opposite direction. We talked about how we think he was snubbed on the goalie list.
Yeah, didn't make the top 10. Yeah,
I'm just looking at goalies here,
like Gustafsson, I think was the last ranked goalie.
Yeah, it was in that like 81 to 90 range. There was Swayman and Gustafsson.
Yeah, I think Ullmark was in that range. Darcy Kemper was in the 70s to 80s. So like he's probably in that same.
I would
say
Linus Ullmark did not have a better season.
No, he didn't.
Than Bobrovsky. Like
Bobrovsky was 47th last year, by the way, on our list.
I do think some people will look at his overall resume and still have him, somewhere around there. Like, does Darcy Kemper stay as well on the list as he did? He was 80 last year.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather have Darcy Kemper or Sergei Bobrovsky? I think I would take Bobrovsky, guys.
Yeah, I would definitely take Sergei Bobrovsky over him. So I think we're good to call Bobrovsky a lock into the top 100. Mm-hmm. And did you have anyone else in consideration for the top 100?
Last mission for me was Gavin McKenna.
Really? You had the balls to nominate Gavin McKenna on behalf of the Locked On Leafs podcast. Man hasn't played a single second of NHL hockey, and you've already got him in top 100 status.
Absolutely. Because he's going to have it hasn't been talked about enough that he could really, now he's not going to go and be putting up maybe superstar numbers right away. Like, that expectation might be a little bit tough, but I think I think him being a Leaf, him playing in a pretty big role right off the hop could elevate him into a potential top 100. Like, would you have, I'm just going to look at his stats before I totally say this, but would you have Tomas Hertl in the top 100 over McKenna?
I mean,
24 goals, 58 points in 82 games last year.
Yeah, like I could see McKenna putting up that type of stat line. I could totally see it. Yeah.
Right? Like to me, like those are like Jared McCann. Does Jared McCann stay in the top 100?
Yeah, probably not. Like Anthony Cirelli had a good year, but do I have him over a guy like well, I don't know. Cirelli's his defensive prowess maybe gives him a little bit of a different a different boost, but he's going to be a borderliner for me. I will say that. And it's only because we haven't seen him yet.
Yes.
Right? Like we haven't seen him. And I'm curious how many of our Locked On hosts are going to automatically place him in the top 100. Like, again, we look at last year, guys like Logan Cooley, guys like Cole Caulfield. I mean, heck, Celebrini had a great rookie season and only cracked this top 68. Wasn't even like a top tier player. Only got to 68. Lane Hudson, after his rookie season, was only number 82. So it's the Locked On Network. It seems like it's a tough crowd when it comes to the youngins. I'll say that. They definitely favor, it seems like, the veterans over the youngins. And so that might play against Gavin McKenna. But you could definitely make that argument that there's going to be a few players who probably make the top 100. If McKenna's left off of it, that McKenna might end up having a better season than them. I don't think that you'd be crazy to suggest otherwise. But to put him in the top 100 after zero shifts in the National Hockey League would be pretty gutsy, Dave. But I like that you're full of guts. Big cojones on you, big boy, for putting McKenna in the nominations. I like it. We'll see if the rest of the Locked On crew decide to put him in the top 100, I guess. Because the way that it works for those behind the scenes is each team is tasked with nominating whatever players they feel should have consideration for the top 100. And then from there, all the players are put in a pool, and each host has to then create their own top 100. That's the way that it works. And then right before the season starts, the Locked On Network will release the top 100, and we'll fill you in on who went where. Auston Matthews, if you're wondering where he was last year, number 6. He was 6th on the NHL's top 100. I don't think he's going to claim a top 10 spot this year. I don't think he will. I think he probably by the end of the season might prove to be a top 10 player again, but I find it hard to believe that a guy who failed to score 30 goals this season will have top 10 consideration this year. That's just the cold hard facts of the matter. And maybe Auston will play a little bit of a chip on his shoulder this season and shut everyone up and get back to being a top 10 talent this time next year. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, let's get an update on the John Tavares tax case. I thought this thing was over and done with. No, my friend. I should have known better. The Canadian court system, these things take forever. But an update on that next here in the Locked On Leafs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, if you think you know who's going to hit a homer, today FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. It's easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think is going to hit a home run in their next game. If you're right, you'll receive a profit boost on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. Best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. Daily Dingers is another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep. Now you have the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. Sometimes it's a hitter who's been on a hot streak, a favorable pitching matchup, or even a ballpark that tends to give up home runs. Those are always the first things that I look at before making my Daily Dingers pick. So are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. The Locked On Leafs podcast continues. Mike DiStefano and Dave Morassutti with you as we are each and every weekday, Monday through Friday. We'll be Monday through Friday when we get back to daily shows after Labor Day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the duration of the summer, at least. You can find us wherever you get your podcasts and subscribe on YouTube as well. I didn't realize that this John Tavares tax case hadn't been resolved. I hadn't heard about it in quite some time. Like it's probably been about a year since we last heard an update on this case. Yeah. I thought maybe it was just quietly going to get settled outside of the public eye. Not the case. It's back in the public eye. Dave, what's the latest with this John Tavares tax case?
Yeah, I'm sure John Tavares wishes he didn't have to be going into a suit and a courtroom on his off season. But yeah, so the Tavares took the CRA to court over a $8.05 million CRA tax bill. So 6.85 in back taxes, $1.2 million in interest over the signing bonus that he had signed when he first joined the Leafs. Mm-hmm. And the argument from Tavares is that under the Canadian-U.S. tax treaty, signing bonuses paid to non-residents are not taxed the same as if he was a Canadian resident. Well, the CRA believes that because most of the games he played were in Canada, or he spent more time in Canada, that he should pay taxes on said $15 million signing bonus. But Tavares argued, well, I spent most of my time kept his residence in New York. So I should only be, afford to pay the American tax on the signing bonus. And so now the CRA is obviously going after him, and Tavares is fighting this. And his the big thing about all this, and we talked about this every single time we brought up the story, is that some accountants have found ways for NHL, NBA, and MLB players who come up to Canada to use I wouldn't call it a tax loophole, but something that could help reduce the amount of tax, because a signing bonus isn't the same as being paid a normal wage.
Right.
And the reason why now, many of you know the reason why a lot of players were taking these front-loaded bonuses is you can't, the bonus is not deducted, or it's not impacted by if there's a lockout or there's if a player's hurt and things like that. And it's also buyout proof. That's why a lot of contracts are tough. Like, this wasn't just a bonus he took so he can get away from paying taxes. It was also for more guaranteed money in case something happened. Well, guess what? Tavares had a COVID lockdown, right? That impacted that impacted how wages were done. I think there was an injury in there somewhere as well, where, injuries can impact the wages you make as well.
Well, he had that massive hit in the bubble, remember, that he took there.
So that's that's really essentially the side of this. I think he's saying that the tax should be like it is in the States. I think it's 15% of that signing bonus is taxed in the States. Well, obviously the CRA believes that it should be almost half of that signing bonus should be paid out into taxes. So it's a lot of dough that, it's not chump change he's fighting over.
No. I mean, he's trying to get $8 billion back into his pocket, which he expected to have, when he initially signed that deal. It's a little above my pay grade. Like I've read the story and pretty much I could give you some Cole's notes of it, and you did a pretty good job laying it out just now. So I'm sure our listeners and viewers appreciate it. But I just hope I hope John Tavares wins this appeal for one reason. I don't want this to be a deterrent from other players who might want to come to play in Canada or might not want to come to play in Canada, and seeing this situation kind of unfold, especially when you look around the NHL and you got those no tax states like Florida, like Texas, like Vegas, like Carolina, and you're thinking, why the heck would I want to go up there and deal with this nonsense and the CRA putting their fingers in my pocket? I don't got to deal with any of that if I go to Miami, go play in Florida. If I go and play with the Dallas Stars, like that's to me kind of the slippery slope here. And obviously the Canadian government and the CRA has zero care in the world for this. So they don't care what type of precedents that they're setting when it comes to the sports landscape, which obviously I completely understand. But selfishly, from a hockey perspective, a content perspective, I hope this gets resolved in a positive manner, and it doesn't kind of further any more issues here for not only Tavares, but any other player who may be in this situation moving forward. So that's the latest with the John Tavares situation. He officially took the stand yesterday to testify in the case and testify on his behalf of kind of where he thought he was in the right to not have to pay the $8 million. So we'll see what the judge comes away with at some point here. All right. Anything else?
No, I totally agree with everything you said there. Don't want this to be more of a headache than it's already become.
No, absolutely not. On the other side, first it was the NHL Network that snubbed our guy Sergei Bobrovsky. Now it's EA NHL snubbing our guy Auston Matthews. Let's get to that next. Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. Mike DiStefano, Dave Morassutti with you as always. And Dave, did you grow up playing the EA NHL games?
Oh yeah. Anything NHL 16 was probably my favorite one.
16?
Yeah, 16 and 20 were pretty decent. From what I remember.
All right. I always go back even a little further than that. Like 12's good, I thought.
12 was pretty good.
I mean, like I go way back, but
there was one I used to play on my PSP. Remember the PlayStation Portable?
Oh, yeah.
There was one I played. It's the one with, I think it was which one had Ovechkin on it?
Was that 07?
I think that was the Ovechkin was absolutely unstoppable. You just got that guy in a slap shot. He scored almost every single time.
Yeah, dude, like Crosby was like that forever too. I remember playing. It would have been what, NHL 15? No, NHL 13. It was. I remember in college when I was at university at Western, and me and the boys were playing Chell all the time. And we literally made it illegal to be the Pittsburgh Penguins because Sidney Crosby coming down the half wall took a slap shot, scored like 80% of the time. So that just became an automatic no anytime we played. That being said, there's a reason why I bring this up, Dave. The NHL 27 video games coming out pretty soon here, and they put out their top 10 centers list, topped by Connor McDavid, who was given a 99 overall in the video game. They claim to be the first ever 99 video game, and it's not the case.
Yeah, I remember this
at all. There was 99s forever, and I don't know why they're trying to claim that it's a first ever person in the 99 club. But anyways, besides the point, if you look at this list, Dave, there is a major omission in the top 10 list. I'm about to put it up on the screen. You let me know who's missing on this list. We've got Connor McDavid at 1, Nathan McKinnon at 2, Leon Draisaitl at 3, Sidney Crosby at 4, Macklin Celebrini at 5, Barkov 6, Eichel 7, Jack Hughes 8, Suzuki 9, Mark Scheifele coming in at 10 to round out the top 10 centers in NHL 27. Can't help but realize there is a major omission to this top 10 list. Can you spot it, Dave?
Is there a guy with a mustache, with the stash missing from this?
He's been known to rock a mustache within the GTA. Yes, I would say that would properly describe him. Yeah.
I don't know how. I get some people feel that Auston Matthews, with his injury, maybe isn't the same player. But to say that his game has dropped off to the point where he's not a top 10 center. You know what? Top 5? He was in top 5 in our NHL Locked On NHL Top 100 last year, and I was totally fine with that because there were 5 players better than him. But top 10 centers, he can't crack that list. And we had this conversation with the NHL Network last year.
Yeah, they I think they had him at like 7 or something like that. Which okay, I'm here for that argument for how the season played out. But like,
we didn't know how that season was going to play out.
No, I know. In hindsight, they sound smart, obviously, but not to be top 10. I mean, if you're starting the franchise mode tomorrow, you're not gonna take Auston Matthews over Mark Scheifele. You're gonna take Jack Hughes over Auston Matthews? No, give me Matthews all day long. Like, I just surprised, really surprised, and it's so disingenuous when people talk about the fall off for Auston Matthews, almost as if that there isn't a legitimate injury concern with Matthews, and that being a big reason for why he's had the fall off he has in the last couple of years. When that doesn't get brought up, it boggles my mind because it's very clear and evident that he has not been healthy the last couple of years. And look, his chiropractor has been talking the last week or so, and even he came out and he's like, yeah, we're usually focusing on the lower back. This year you're focusing on the knee, and like, he's talking about how much treatment and work Auston Matthews has needed in the off seasons to get ready for the regular season. And unfortunately, the last couple of years just hasn't been able to stay healthy and hasn't been able to deliver at the way that we know he can. But to not have him in the top 10, man, that's crazy talk to me. I mean, they've got so many players ranked way too high in this video game. To not have Matthews in your top 10 is just...
Like, we're talking about a video game. We're not talking about like a play, like an actual list of play on the ice. We're talking about a video game. You're telling me that Auston Matthews doesn't have the skills, the overall rating and skills.
Right.
Like you could put in the games, injuries don't factor into this. Maybe I haven't played NHL long enough. Do they now have if you're an injury prone player, you're now just prone to breaking down every time you play a game?
I think they do have but I don't think it necessarily matters. But I do think injury is considered.
I don't remember
attribute.
I'm sure Eric Lindros had ridiculous ratings in the NHL in those games.
Yeah,
I remember playing the year that Toronto had the All-Star game. It was 2000, right?
Yeah,
the 2000 All-Star game. I had a demo game, and it was just you played the All-Stars. And I can't remember which player it was that I was playing, but he was a ridiculous player to play. Yeah, he had injury concerns. I don't think Lindros was in the All-Star game in 2000. Somebody probably will correct me on that. It's I was a little young when that game happened. But you're telling me that he doesn't have the talent and skill to be considered a top 10 player in NHL in a video game? What are we doing here, guys? We're talking.
He was actually he was on Team North America in the 2000 NHL All-Star game. He was on Team North America.
Okay,
there you go. Yeah, I saw that today and I was like, come on, I get it. He's fallen off a little bit, but not to that extent. And for the video game to kind of lay into him like that, wild stuff. I hope that there's going to be a chip on his shoulder, man. Auston Matthews revenge season. Here we go. I'm ready for it, dude. I can't wait. He's going to come back, shove 50 into the back of the net, and come and, give the rest of the league a couple double birds. Give EA NHL a double bird. Give the NHL Network a triple bird if you can. And hopefully, that can lead to some team success along the way. All right, buddy. That'll do it for us today on the podcast. I'd like to thank everyone for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to the Locked On Leafs podcast on all platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morassutti and follow the show as well at Locked On Leafs. So we'll be back with another episode for you guys on Friday. Dave, you got something you want to tee up for Friday's show?
Well, we are going to have some NHL players potentially speak at this event in Brampton. You may have heard of it, Hockey Night in Brampton. I will be there covering for Sportsnet for that one. So Morgan Rielly, a highlight player on the list. I wonder what we might talk with him about. We may have talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
That Morgan Rielly talking to the press about his offseason, and I think is going to come a little bit earlier. Unless for some reason, he's a team captain. So I don't know.
You got to ask him the question. You got to ask him the question. You got to do it. Be a team player.
You know what, guys? I'm usually not this person, but if nobody else at that media scrum is going to ask that question, I'm going to have to ask it.
Hell yeah, Dave. Hell yeah. You're an absolute beaut. All right, that'll do it for us here tonight. We'll be back with another episode for you guys on Friday. Until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.